Okay, so let's talk here real briefly about foreign-owned entities here in the U.S. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people say, hey, we need to bring our manufacturing, everything back domestic, right? And this is a real common theme, and I wholeheartedly agree with that, but actually I agree with that only in a sense that we bring it back to small businesses and non-public businesses, and here's why. What is going on right now is that China has bought up, China specifically, I know they're always kind of the bad guy, but China specifically, I'm sure there's other countries doing it, has bought up food processing and food distribution networks that are publicly owned or that came up for private sale. What is it, Smithfield Foods. We talked about them yesterday on the live chat, or Sunday on the live chat. They are the largest pork processor here in the nation, and they are shutting down a factory in California. But here's really the problem with it is that entity is Chinese owned, and it has been since I believe 2015. And so Smithfield Foods is a Chinese company, which means they're going to prioritize exporting to China over keeping things domestically imported. The government likes to see things exported because then they get to put taxes on them, and so and that's really the bigger ticket item, is that the government does not have any vested interest in making sure that those products stay domestic, other than trying to keep the general populace happy. So as long as you have enough food to keep you happy, then there's no incentive for them to keep that pork from being shipped overseas, to keep it here domestically, to keep the prices cheaper. And so that's really where we run into the problem, is it's the government having a vested interest in it. The government makes more money being able to export those and putting in the form of tariffs and taxes on them, and export taxes than they do if the same products are sold through interstate commerce. So that's why this is so dangerous, that these foreign entities are able to own foreign soil and are able to own domestic soil here in the U.S., and they're able to own domestic companies. This is why that becomes such a big problem, and really what the solution is for us all to move back to shopping local and supporting our local businesses. And if you have a dream of starting something and starting a business, now is the time to do it. Now is the time for us to all get off of our horses and start digging in the dirt and getting those businesses built. We've been looking around, we've been eyeing it, we've been saying, hey, I want to do this for a while, and now is really the time for you to do that. So if you have a dream of starting a business, now is definitely the time to jump on that, because these Chinese companies actually, and I shouldn't say just Chinese, again, it's more than China obviously that's doing this, but these companies are buying up our assets here, and they're going to use that to their advantage, not to ours. China supposedly cannot produce enough food, and I don't really agree with that analysis, but supposedly China cannot produce enough food for all of its people, and so it needs those exports from other countries being imported into China, and that creates this kind of dynamic where they're reliant and they have a vested interest of making sure that they have good sources, and that they're not subject to the whims of the market when things get bad and countries don't want to export their goods. They then have the control to say, we're exporting, this is our company. And so that's what I just want you guys to realize what's going on there in the market, and why this is so dangerous, that these companies own these sources here in the U.S. So bringing things back domestic, small business should be the backbone of our economy always, and we should be continuing to grow those and support those companies, even if it's not quite as convenient for us. And I'm not saying spend a bunch more to support local, but what I am saying is that if you can shop at a local mom and pop, and maybe it takes you 3 stops instead of 1, but you don't support Walmart, that is something that's worth doing. The gas, even with the prices today, is not that expensive to get between those 3 shops. So definitely worth doing if at all possible, and if you can support. I, like anybody, still buy stuff from Amazon. I wish I could avoid it, but it's very difficult to avoid Amazon nowadays. So anyways, I just wanted to go over that with you guys, let you know what these dangers are of these these foreign companies buying domestic soil, buying domestic businesses, and where that is going in the future. That is going to continue to be a problem for us, and it's going to become an exacerbated problem as inflation rears, as we have continued food shortages. The food shortages that we talked about are going to get worse and worse next year. So definitely something for us to keep our eyes on and start developing solutions now. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure and like and subscribe to the channel if you've made it this far, and we will catch y'all tomorrow.